Thank you very much for staying. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji Riafe. Now, some customers are skeptical about online services despite the surge in e-com and online retail services as we mark the International Consumers' Rights Day today on the theme, making the digital marketplace fairer. We hit the streets of Accra to gauge their experiences. This is Sheila Tamaklo's report.
All across the world, e-commerce, or better still, buying products and services online, is fast taking over some conventional marketing transactions. According to e-marketers' estimates, e-commerce sales accounted for 1/10 of total retail sales worldwide, amounting to $2.3 trillion. In Ghana, e-commerce is also fast gaining grounds. But do customers feel safe patronizing the service?
I think the regular market is better because you go and see it yourself, you pay, you take it. But online, maybe they will bring it and later you not like the way it is. And so I prefer the going regularly.
What about the services like the internet and all that?
It's fast, but sometimes, you know, our network sometimes breaks down and all stuff. So later you realize going regular will be better than shopping online.
Do you feel safe transacting financial business on platforms? For instance, using your mobile money to pay and stuff. Do you feel safe using it?
Usually pay on arrival. So like
yeah, but we have yes, people prefer to pay on arrival, but there's also the option of mobile money. So for you, would you feel safe using your mobile
I feel safe for when my goods come and ask me to pay with the mobile money, I'm fine. You know, some of them have the PayPal and all that. So when you come and bring a machine and I do it, fine. But then I wouldn't pay before my arrival. No, it's quite risky. You just can't risk it because it's still Ghana. Anything can happen. You just can't risk it.
So essentially, it's like the law doesn't really protect us. So
if you pay and a product doesn't come, you can't hold anybody responsible. The least you can do is go on social media and make noise. They've already taken your money, so then you just go like that.
Do you feel safe when you are doing all these transactions, that's in the online payments and purchases? Do you feel safe?
Well, a bit yes. You can feel safe in a way. No, it depends on the credibility of the institution, and you just have to watch how many people have been able to go about it successfully. So I normally go online shopping based on what people have said and looking at the evidence that hey, he bought it here or she bought it here and this is the evidence. So if I don't have any evidence, I won't do online shopping.
The apprehension expressed by these consumers is largely due to an absence of a code of conduct to protect their right in the digital space. But as the world marks World Consumer Day under the theme, Making Digital Marketplaces Fairer, consumer rights activist Apiakusi Adomakun is pushing for the implementation of the Consumer Rights Protection Law.
Once the law is passed, the law allows for the creation of the Consumer Protection Commission that will be able to resolve consumer issues. It also means that businesses will also have to up their game. I mean, currently, because we don't have consumer protection law, people go to China and bring any inferior goods and they will write on it, goods sold here are not returnable, because whatever he is selling, that person cannot guarantee the efficacy of the goods. But once the law becomes operational, all these consumer violations will be a thing of the past.
The general enforcement of the law will go a long way to ensure fairness and check fraud, which constitutes major threats to the development of e-commerce.
Now, head of legal department of NIB Bank, Robertson Pacha, has been speaking about the ruling by the Supreme Court in favor of the bank. The ruling yesterday overturned a review application seeking to quash a $60 million judgment debt that the NIB was to pay Dominion Corporate Trustees Limited on initial order of a high court. Robertson Pacha says this would once again turn around the fortunes of NIB and enhance its image with other international stakeholders.
Since 2010, the bank has been saddled of this similarly judgment debt case. And as a result, a lot of the bank's credit lines have been affected. I mean, to the extent that even Bank of Ghana would sometimes want us to make provisions for the supposedly judgment that had been hanging on the bank. And it also affects the bank's relationship with other banks. And then our customers too didn't have real confidence in the bank, because obviously if anybody tells you that your bank has a judgment debt of over $90 million US, with an interest at 11% a year running, I mean, you would have some cause to be cautious the way you deal with the bank. And that has affected the fortunes of the bank. But with this judgment off, I think that the bank is now poised to move on fully. I think that we now have a clean sheet with which we can confidently deal with our international partners. Our correspondence bank will now have confidence in us that all along what we have been telling them, that yes, we had a good case. I mean, now they are very assured that yes, I mean, the bank has no cock hanging over their neck, and therefore they can enter into any relationship with us, knowing that, I mean, we don't have any judgment debt.
Now, as part of efforts to bridge the unemployment gap in the country, Ashesi University, with support from some corporate entities, has held a career fair at its Brekusu campus. The aim is to equip students of the university with the needed skills to make them ready for the job market. Graduate unemployment is growing annually and discouraging many people from willingly pursuing tertiary education. But according to Assistant Director of Career Services at the university, Abigail Welbeck, the fair will help harness a smooth transition from academia to job acquisition. Bismarck Awusa has more.
Over 90 organizations from various industries in Ghana took part in the 12th Ashesi University Career Fair organized by the Career Services Office of the university. Speaking to Joy Business, Assistant Director of Career Services at the university, Abigail Welbeck, says the fair would go a long way to secure jobs for students and alumni of the university.
We don't only want to give students the knowledge in the classroom, we want to make sure that they have the experience, they have the needed skills, they know what is going on the ground, so that they can mesh the two, what they learn in the classroom and then what is happening out there, so that when they're done, they become very employable. They have the right skill sets that the employers are looking for. So this is one of the ways we try to do that. We bring a lot of organizations on campus to interact with the students and talk about opportunities that are available in their organizations. And then students are also able to create networks that goes beyond this. Some of them are able to get mentoring mentors from this fair, and some of them get opportunities. So it's just bridging that gap between academia and then industry.
On his part, exhibition volunteer from Royal Crown Packaging Limited, Michael Cliff, is urging universities to provide more of such platforms for companies to train students for the job market.
Like there's this saying, catch them young and they shall be yours forever. We believe that when we tap into talent at this stage, we can change their mindset, we can reorient their mindset into that kind of people that we want. So by the time they are done doing internship with us over a period, they have that zeal, that commitment, and that grittiness to exceed and perform optimally anywhere in the world. So that is why we are partaking in this. We want to change the way advertising is done. We believe the vision is to move people and brands forward, society, people, brands forward. So that's what we seek to do.
At the end of the fair, students who excelled in the various competitions were presented with awards. Multiple awards winner at the fair, Jean-Ni Odate Kwakupon, is urging tertiary institutions to go beyond theoretical education to a more practical approach to solving some of the country's challenges.
I think as much as possible, it starts from the educational side of things. So while the students are in school, give them the opportunity to try their hands at several different things. Let them identify problems and find practical ways of doing that. So by the time they're out of there, they already know how to hit the ground running in which institutions they find themselves.
Shed more light.
So pretty much, if you are able to give students the opportunity to discover the kind of problems or challenges in their country, they are able to relate to it. And then if the educational system facilitates them to be able to learn while tackling these challenges, then by the time they are out of these educational institutions, they know that whatever institution they find themselves in, they can apply what they've learned to practical challenges they face.
The one-day annual fair had a number of panel sessions and competitions that ran alongside. Bismarck Awusa, Joy Business.
Government is now looking at raising more than what it targeted for this year's Eurobond sale. According to the Bloomberg News, the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta disclosed this to them in a telephone interview. There's more in this Business Desk report.
According to the Finance Minister, half of the amount would be used to clear existing debts. $1 billion would be used to meet its financing needs outlined in the 2018 budget. Bloomberg News also says government is looking at $1.5 billion to refinance dollar debts. if it's able to secure the funds at a favorable interest rate. The finance minister had initially told Joy Business that they were looking at raising as much as $2 billion subject to favorable conditions, and the fundraising could happen before the end of the first half of this year. It is not clear for now whether this would go down well with the IMF when they are proposing that the Eurobond auction should be capped at $500 million.
Now, businesses will start benefiting from the recent utility tariff reduction from April 1. The following report has more on why enterprises would have to wait a while longer before profiting from these adjustments announced by the PURC.
To the Electricity Company of Ghana, even though the reduction takes effect from this morning, the monthly billing cycle of a prepayment metering system does not technically allow ECG to implement the review in the middle of the month. Consequently, prepaid customers of ECG should note that programming of a billing system will refund the reduction from the implementation date when they deposit cash or purchase electricity from April 1. This should mean that firms that were looking forward to making some savings from their budget for electricity purchases may have to wait for about 15 days. The Electricity Company of Ghana was quick to add that recent reduction was only on energy consumption. Therefore, the addition of statutory levies and other fixed charges will reduce the average percentage relief. The statement from ECG also showed businesses and enterprises would witness some significant reduction in the cost of purchase when they consume more in kilowatts hour.
Now, many business owners aim to satisfy a need, impact society, and make a mark worldwide. As part of our Ghana Month series today, we take a look at some female entrepreneurs who we spoke to one woman who has taken her business to another level and seeks to grow her brand internationally.
Meet Gwen Addo. She is not a hairdresser. She was a banker who left her job to do something else. She wanted to change the face of the hair extension industry.
Growing up, I realized that a lot of people had not put a face to the hair extensions in Ghana. There were many people that traveled and then brought hair, but no one had actually set out to build a brand out of it. So that was what I did. I had to put a face to it, which was the hair center.
Hair extensions have caught up with many and become a must for some people, especially women, from natural hair attachments to wigs, caps and extensions. So women all across the world are trying to make a mark or a difference wherever they find themselves. Today I'm here at Hair Center, one of the popular centers known for hair extensions. I'm here to find out how Gwen Addo is making a difference in the hair extension business. Hair center services are unique as each cut and stitch is done to suit the customer. Perhaps the reason Gwen's brand is gaining ground internationally.
So we have a relationship with DHL. So what happens is they order via Instagram and then we ship it to them via DHL. So in 2 to 3 days they get it. And we've been able to build a brand. Currently we have people that buy wholesale from us, from Liberia, from the US, we are in 4 states in the US, from the UK, and then send it to America and then they sell.
The beauty industry is growing in leaps and bounds, but just like every other industry, there are challenges.
Some of the challenges I faced in the beginning, one challenge that I particularly remember is when I first bought a lot of hair. You know, I bought this hair with the idea that it was hair that everybody liked. But where I was wrong was it was hair that I liked. So all that hair I brought, I think about 90% of it was not sold. Those that bought it returned it, and it cost me about $20,000 back then. You know,
How long ago was
about this? 9 years, 8 years ago.
Gwen is reluctant to tell me how much she makes from this business, but she says her business has seen remarkable growth since it was set up 5 years ago.
Because here I was in Africa, and most of the people I was exposed to could not afford the products I had. So it had become an aspirational product, and I wasn't going to make money. So what I did was I introduced a lower tier product, which was not going to confuse our customers or break the brand. It was good quality, but at a good price. Okay. So what happened? We had a lot more people who were able to afford the hair center. And then our numbers doubled, if not even tripled. You know, it was massive.
With the help of 15 staff, Gwen is taking her Ghanaian business all across the globe. Reporting for Joy Business, Karen Dodu.
From one Ghana Month story to another, and this time we focus our attention on one of the nation's oldest book publishing companies, Adwensa Publications. And having been in existence for more than 4 decades, Adwensa Publications continues to develop, publish and distribute textbooks and other indigenous storybooks for basic and second cycle schools in the country. Pearl Domi has been finding out more on how the company has evolved.
Distribution industry in Ghana, Adwensa has been in successful operations for 42 years now. A unique example of a growing family business, Adwensa Publications focuses on producing local supplementary literature for first and second cycle schools. Founder and owner of Adwensa, Kwabna Amponsa, tells how the company has evolved over the years.
When I started, I had a lot of challenges and I didn't have enough money, especially the printing. It was very expensive. So I credited, the printing from Ghanaian Times and then sometimes Ghana Publishing. Another one was also typesetting, how to type the book. There was no typesetting machine in Ghana. And we had to use the linotype. We had a problem of getting paper in the country. Marketing was a problem. But later on, the government started buying the books, especially the supplementary readers from us. I think we are the first publisher to have published in the 15 languages for the non-formal education. So we really were able to sustain the literacy program, which was initiated by the Ministry of Education in Ghana at that time. When we started buying machines, I moved them to my place, my house in North Legon, and then later on we acquired land and then put up, offices at Agogwa.
The company first started as a producer of supplementary textbooks, but was selected among 5 other local publishers to develop and produce approved textbooks and other reading materials for schools. Adwensa has proven to be one of the long-standing local publishing firms that has contributed to national development in the area of education and currently extends its operations into neighboring Nigeria, where some of its books have been adopted by the country. Adwensa Publications has sustained its operations and stayed afloat in the industry through various strategies. The general manager, Kweku Opong Amponsa, outlines how Adwensa has maintained an edge in the current competitive business environment.
We have tried as much as possible to ensure that the content of our books meets up with the syllabus, especially the textbooks. The textbooks we have meet up with the syllabus. We get very, very competent people to write the books. And we also ensure that the quality is very high. Quality in terms of content, quality in terms of outlook. And when you don't compromise any of this, you are always able to stay above the competitors and able to meet.
With the sole aim of producing indigenous books, Adwensa Publications plans to develop and promote public interest in reading local books through future initiatives.
Adwensa is coming out with fresh books. Currently, in fact, this year, we are focusing on coming out with 100 titles, 100 new titles, of storybooks. We want to flood the markets with storybooks. We want children to continue reading, and reading. Yes, we want them to cultivate the love, for the local stories.
Currently, government is committed to developing the local printing sector and hopefully migrate the competition posed by foreign printing businesses to enhance national development. For Joy Business, Pearl Safakodomi reporting.
This is Business Live. Let's now turn attention to stock market news. And listing on the Ghana Stock Exchange might not be the immediate solution for local football clubs seeking to raise long-term funds for their operations. That's coming from the renowned sports administrator and consultant Rex Dankwa. This follows reports that the local football club, Medeama FC, is working to list on the Ghana Stock Exchange. Mr. Dankwa tells Joy Business local clubs must first look at selling more merchandise and growing their support base first.
Now, if you want to do merchandising, and merchandising is a greater part of the business, that is why the major clubs in Europe will always go to China, because you need the base of the Chinese market, where they have a lot of supporters there. And then if you have been selling a T-shirt with a profit margin of $2, and you can do about 10 million supporters in China, that's a lot of money. Has nothing to do with the football. It's just merchandising. And merchandising is a good business in Ghana. But the clubs, they don't think it's part of the business. I recall 208. Merchandising was a major source of income for the tournament. I mean, T-shirt, the guy bought a rice for $500,000. At the end of the event, he had made a profit of $2 million just for 208 alone. You understand? So merchandising is key. Licensing is key. You don't need to do every business yourself. Because if you do every business yourself, it means you have to employ people to do that business. And the long run, it will not be profitable. So we need to learn in football, we need to learn how to outsource some of the things that the clubs themselves try to do. Because if you sell the license, you get your money. Now, the onus on the thing for the person is a person. It's a person that has to make that business out of the merchandising, the ancillary of the sports of the football business. And that is what we need to begin to look at that locally. And then we can change. Once we get to that level that there's a lot more transparency and accountability, we've grown the other business of the football, merchandising and supporter base and all. You understand? Then you can begin to look at that next step of going public. Then people will see the profitability. Because when people see that there's money in it and it's transparent, they will even come and force you that they want to buy shares. You don't even have to advertise. So it's a rethinking that we need. And we should be ready to rethink. We are not ready yet, but we should be ready to rethink. And then the success stories of Medeama, Dream FC is doing well. I think because of his own professional background, he's doing it step by step by step. He doesn't overgrow his wings. He makes sure that, and then he's been lucky. At least there's one player that has gone out, has gone into Chelsea, and he's been floating around, and every time the monies that they are talking about in the excess of $20 million and all, if he sees his percentage with every next transfer, he should keep his club in check. But he, because he was conscious of the professionalism in the game, he did it well. And he is not growing big. He's growing little by little by doing the right thing. And that is what we should all do.
And time now to take our interview of the day. And CEO of the Ghana Standards Authority, Professor Alex Dodu, has emphasized the essence of registering all electric cable imports into the country in order to meet acceptable standards. He says the authority will begin clamping down on all the importation of unregistered cables on the market in July this year. The aim is to prevent the flooding of substandard products.
Well, basically, first and foremost, we are going to have all those we have registered listed on our website. That is number one, but that is the easy bit. Now, we are hoping to mark cables. Now, even if that starts on the 1st of April, it's not going to be full speed till at least 3 months, because that means that every importer will need to mark it somehow. I mean, there are various verification modes that you put on. I don't want to call it a tax stamp, because it's not a tax stamp, but you can have, in countries like Kenya, they call it the import certification mark. So you have a mark on it which shows that this has been approved for imports.
You have only 1 month. Specifically, what are you going to do by April?
Should we release it before we get approval from our bosses? Our view is that we will announce the exact solution. But the exact solution is going to be in the form of a verification on every single batch of cable. It may be on the outer wrapping or it may be on the inner cable, so that when you pick the cable, you know where it's coming from. But we're also going beyond that, because it's not just a cable we are focusing on now. We have already made an announcement that in this country, if you go to several shops in town, you buy an electric fan, a TV, whatever, and the plug. It's not really the square 3-pin that we all know. It's all sorts. That is wrong. The Energy Commission has already submitted legislation, but we think it's going to be too long. So we have also submitted a ministerial order as well as an LI, so that basically what we say is that you cannot just stop all the companies. You are giving them 3 months. That if by the 1st of July you find anything in any shop being sold commercially, which is not the 3 square pin, then you will take them to court and sanction them. The days of saying that we'll deal with it for me are over. We sanction. We give clear timelines and we show you the sanctions. And we're hoping that the fines will be punitive enough to stop people doing that.
And that'll be it for Business Live today. Thank you very much for keeping company with me on the program. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji Riafi. For more business news, you can visit our website www.myjoyonline.com/business. Have a good evening.